Hi, I'm Ilan.
And I am Peter Song.
My name is Simone McGowan, and we're Team Spy.
Do you know that people could actually die from a sleep disorder? In an 18-year follow-up study of the Wisconsin sleep cohort, about 19% of participants with severe sleep apnea died, compared with about 4% of participants without sleep apnea. The condition of obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, is caused by periodic upper airway collapse, resulting in an interrupted sleep and oxygen desaturation. It is affecting an estimated 22 million Americans and is found to be associated with all-cause mortality in patients younger than 50 years of age. Even participants with mild to moderate sleep apnea had a mortality risk that was 50% greater than those without the disease. CPAP is currently the most common and effective device for severe OSA patients. However, it has a failure rate of 46 to 83% because of intolerance caused by a feeling of confinement from the face mask, a sore or dry mouth, and discomfort of having air blasted into the airway. It is also bulky and burdensome to carry around, as we learned from two CPAP users. In recent years, mandibular advancement devices emerged as a potential alternative treatment for sleep apnea. The devices snap over the upper and lower dental arcs using a mechanical means of extruding the lower jaw while the patient is asleep, and thus reduce obstruction of the patient's upper airway and stabilize airflow. But still, it may be inconvenient for the patient to go to the dentist for every adjustment of the device, and the shape of the metal hinges and the dimension of the device could also be a problem for patients with sensitive oral environments. That is why we designed RollAir, to address adjustability and bulkiness concerns of the users while effectively mediating the symptoms of sleep apnea. Based on SolidWorks modeling and user feedback, we revised the mechanism of extrusion to simplify the means of adjustment and greatly reduce the device volume.
To reduce the bulkiness of the device as much as possible, we first made a wire prototype band to fit a 3D tooth model to determine if we can fit the contours of the teeth. After trying steel wires with two different radii, we found that steel wires with a radius of 0.5 mm could firmly hold onto the teeth as shown in the picture. The results show that we do not need to rely on a polymer splint for the stabilization that contributes to most of the volume. Then we moved to explore mechanisms that can extrude the lower jaw horizontally when the mouth is closed. We came up with 4 different mechanisms using a clamp, a front screw, a roller, and a clip, respectively. We evaluated the dimensions and numbers of sharp edges in each of them. Based on these aspects, prioritizing adjustability and comfort using inputs, we selected the roller mechanism for our design. Then we went through an iteration and added a feature that fixed the roller. Finally, we came to our final concept, RollAir. We combined the roller mechanism and the wires. For safety concerns, we minimized the risk of hurting users by filling in the edges of all components and deleting detachable parts. We also changed the side tubes from a circular shape to a rectangular shape, so the tubes are less likely to touch the mouth. Compared to the predicate device, RollAir has 1/3 of surface area and 1/4 of the volume reduced. Moreover, the surface area to volume ratio is 0.91 for the RollAir and compared to 0.66 of the predicate device. Adjusting RollAir only takes 3 steps, whereas for the Herbst Advance, it takes a special tool and it is more complicated to make adjustments.
Compare the changes in the cross-sectional area due to advancement in the region of the airway most commonly obstructed in OSA patients. The change in mean cross-sectional area of that region was over 5 times greater with that comparing 0 mm and 4 mm advancement to the baseline position with no oral device in. That calculated increase of airflow rate as a result supports the functionality of our device.
While still keeping the functionality of extruding the lower jaw, patients with RollAir have less oral environment space taken by the device, easier adjusting method, and a safe experience. Dentists can save time by making adjusting instructions remotely as well.
The target market for our device are patients with mild to moderate sleep apnea, or for patients who do not tolerate or prefer alternate therapy to CPAP. The average time span from concept to market is 3 to 7 years for medical devices. To stay on the lower end of that, we plan to hire a regulatory consultant to help us effectively navigate the FDA clearance process, as well as assist us with product testing. This service will cost $12,000 to $16,000. Medical device classification requires us to do a 510(k) pre-market approval. We'll have to pay around $5,000 to register a device once cleared. In addition, the testing and performance data to prove our device is safe and effective. Clinical data may be requested from us since we have a dissimilar mechanism to current mandibular advancement devices. The rough estimated cost to make our device is around $352 per unit. One of our competitors, Somnomed, has devices that can run as high as $2,500 in price without insurance. Putting our price point at $1,500, we market ourselves as a 40% cheaper option while showing a cost-effective 76.5% margin. Doing a market analysis at this price point, we see a hefty $24 billion serviceable obtainable market worldwide. Even if we still fare 1% of the market, we can obtain $240 million. We hope that our design as a more attractive therapy at a cheaper price will encourage people to be more open to be evaluated for OSA. As treatment lowers sleep disturbances and excessive daytime sleepiness decreases, loved ones sleep undisturbed and reassured. So for these reasons, we consider asking you to invest in RollAir, where we rest easy when you rest easy.